Hey my fellow reefers, I know it's been about a month since I posted a video, but today we're going to talk about the brand new tank. Now, it's been a while since I posted a video, about a month, and that's because I actually blew out my knee while working out, so I've been kind of just stuck on this rolling chair that you see right behind you for the last little while, and I haven't been able to go to the LFS and everything, so nothing to really report on. But luckily, in the last week, the Red Sea tank finally came in. So today what I wanted to do is give you just like a real thorough overview of the differences between the new Red Sea tanks, which are more reinforced and more this, more that. We'll go through all of them and compare it to my Red Sea tank right here, the 525. So let's go ahead and get started. So this is going to be the new Red Sea S-1000, and this is a G2 model. This is going to be the first tank I've ever bought that's actually brand new. All of my tanks I've ever had have always been secondhand tanks bought off from other reefers. But since this will probably be a last tank ever kind of tank, hopefully, want to try something nice, get something nice for myself. So we got it brand new, and of course we got the white cabinet. All of the ones I've had also have been black, so having white is really nice, especially considering my house is more white. Obviously my floor is like a gray color, so it just fits in a lot better. Now the first thing that you'll see is it is actually Euro braced on the top. And what's kind of interesting about this Euro bracing, obviously it's not rimless, so you don't get that nice clean look, but it is going to be a lot stronger, especially when you have this much water. And what's interesting is that it's kind of like a double Euro brace. I've never had a Euro brace tank, but this is kind of interesting. There's like one sheet of glass here, then another one on top. So I don't know if that's standard, but it's pretty much Euro braced all around with the exception of the back of the tank right here. So this is just a regular panel, just like any other Red Sea tank. But other than that, it's Euro braced there and also on the other end. Now, as you look on the inside of the tank, you'll actually see it is also braced on the inside as well. So you have this reinforcement and it goes all the way around to the other side of the tank, and that's just like another piece of glass. Now I don't know if that goes the same for any other size tanks, for example any of the other G2 series tanks, but that's a really nice addition that I didn't know actually came with it. And then lastly, for the corners, it's been mentioned in a lot of the Red Sea forums that the corners are now reinforced as well. It's not really possible to actually see it from any angle, but there is actually like a triangular piece of glass that's in that corner. So it's not corner to corner. There is actually like a diagonal piece going into it. Like I said, it's really impossible to tell, but it is for sure there. So it's to prevent scraper damage, and you can feel it. It is like an actual piece of glass or maybe like a really hard plastic, but that's a really nice addition so you don't ram it into the seams, which is, a common issue with a lot of these older Red Sea tanks. Now, what's really nice is, of course, you have a crazy amount of silicone on each of these edges right here. It's like super thick. It's almost an inch thick, even a bit thicker here on the bottom panel. But it does give a little bit of a kind of a TV-ish kind of look, especially on the top where it's Euro braced. But Euro bracing for this type of tank is kind of required. One thing that's notable about the larger Red Sea tanks, for example the 900, is a lot of people say because it is rimless on the top, there's a lot of bowing that happens. So when you view it from the side, you can actually visibly see a bow or a bow, however you say that, to the front of the tank. So that Euro bracing is really going to help. And of course I want this tank to last as long as possible, so it was definitely the route to go, even though obviously the rimless looks a little bit more clean. Now, the tank is currently not against the wall. I'm still working on my light rail, which is 80/20 aluminum, whatever you call it. I still have some mounting that I kind of need to do to get this ready. So I currently have it about 2 feet out from the wall. But once that's done, we'll go ahead and just push the tank against it. It'll be ready, yada yada. Now, the overflow box compared to the 525 is a lot different. With the Red Sea, the return pump is actually in the front of the tank. And now you see on these new S-1000s, it's one on each side. And what's cool is that each of these can be controlled with one pump or two. So there's 2 separate connections, one for each of these pumps. So I can have 2 return pumps at different flow rates, or I can just have like a Y connection and just have the 2 of them together. And you'll see that in a second once we go to the bottom of the tank. Now, as standard with any other Red Sea tank, you do have the lid right here. With the lid, there is like a cutout if you want to break that out for like a light. Now, these 2 little holes on these sides right here, I'm not really sure what those are for. They're not meant to be broken out, so I'm assuming they're supposed to fit something, but I'm not really sure what that something is. Lastly, you have the removable weirs, which is standard with every Red Sea tank, and those are always great. Makes it super easy to clean out. Now, moving on to the back of the tank. Oh, if you guys, I don't know if you guys would be interested. To me, it sounds like a boring topic, but if you want to see kind of how I put together this light rail, just let me know in the comments. Maybe I'll make a quick video about it. It's super simple and it's highly reinforced. It's actually bolted onto 4 studs in 2 points. So it should be plenty strong, especially for the lights I'm trying to run. But as far as the tank goes, the back right here is going to be that same standard kind of plastic, black plastic that they use in all tanks. Now, the more interesting part is the bottom panel right here. Now, in the back of the Red Sea 525, which is my current tank, they do actually have like a plywood panel. So you can drill into it. There's thickness to it. Now, for some reason, they didn't go with that for the S-1000. As you can see here, it's just like a flimsy little cover. I mean, which is still fine considering that, you know, the whole tank is braced with aluminum. So they don't need it for like any structural reason, but it would have been nice if that would have been plywood, just because I could have mounted these lights directly onto the tank, which would have saved, you know, me drilling into the walls. But overall, not a deal breaker. Like, of course, like I said, it is fully reinforced, so it's not a big deal. And then, of course, it comes with these little caps that come right off, and then there's a screw there. Now, as we move on into the inside of the tank, there's one thing in here that I would really love to see in all future tanks, just because I feel like it would be such a help, especially with the Red Seas that are known for kind of, you know, giving out at the seams, which, I mean, to be fair, every tank manufacturer is going to have that, and not as many tank manufacturers sell as many tanks as Red Seas. So there's always a kind of a percentage of failure, you know? But the bottom sheet right here, which is like the top of the stand, there is actually kind of like a metal sheet goes across the full length of the tank. So how would you say it? It's kind of more like a lip. Yeah, I would say it's like a lip. There's kind of like that full lip under the front pane of the glass, so it's kind of holding it up. I'm not sure if it's actually touching or not, but that's a really nice piece, especially if you kind of hit your tank a lot, you might kind of nick it. This thing would kind of protect it, which is super good. Now, as we look at the inside of the tank, of course you can see we do have this bracing all around. Now, the front is like a black color, but all the interior is all going to be silver. And I did actually ask Red Sea because I was thinking about maybe there's some few mounting options, because it is kind of, they do have like little indentations in them. They're about 40 millimeters by 20 millimeters. So I haven't thought of a way of mounting anything yet, but it might be a possibility. And of course, so the first thing that we'll see is the Red Sea plumbing. It's pretty much all new plumbing. So you have 2 return lines, 1 emergency, 1 standard. And then you do have the return pump, which goes to this little bit right here, and then you can either have 2 return pumps or use this Y splitter that's currently on there and just have 1 return pump, which is what I'm going to be doing. They do have the brand new diaphragm valve, which a lot of people have said is a lot better. Obviously I haven't been able to try it yet, but it'll be cool to see what that's like once, that comes in. I mean, once the tank's filled up. Now, just moving from left to right, obviously this is where the water starts to go down, and it goes into this filter sock area. And what's really nice is this filter socks now come with this little silencer cap kind of thing, which is really interesting. I wonder if that's the silence or just to prevent like big things from getting into the socks. But the socks are still, there. They do come with the media cup now, which is really nice. This is 2 of those, and then 2 of the micron bags, but I'm not really going to use those, just because I do plan on getting one of the Reef mats. Now, with the generation 2 of the S-1000, it is Reef mat compatible. So what that means is that this entire thing can be removed to put that Reef mat in its place, and it's pretty easy to do so. What they do recommend is that you do this before the tank is filled up, and the reason being is that it makes it a lot harder to pull out if there is already water in it. And it's pretty simple. You just pull out this portion right here, and then there is this glass piece. And if there is water in the tank, it's putting pressure against the glass piece, which makes it hard to rip it out. But you just give it a good pull, and then this glass piece comes out, which completely opens up the bottom of the tank. And that's a really cool design. It makes, everything super convenient as far as installation of those new Reef mats. Now, I don't know if these little black bracing areas serve any purpose for the new Reef mat, but it kind of looks like it does because there's these little cuts in it. I'm not really sure what those are for, but maybe it'll work for it. Now, moving along, you do just kind of have like a little media area. This is just a bunch of the extra stuff that came with the tank. We're just going to keep it in there for now. It's like extra plumbing parts. And what's kind of cool about this area is, number 1, these little pieces right there, you can switch them out for the Red Sea. It's like the regular weirs. If you want it to overflow, or you can block it off like I have done here so that it forces the water through to the other side. And this entire panel right here can also be removed, so if you don't want to use it, you kind of don't have to. But yet the modularity of everything is super nice, and it makes everything just ridiculously convenient. Now, the last part is going to be the little, hole right here that moves into the frag tank on the other side of the door. So you do have just this little O-ring kind of seal thing, and it's plumbed straight through this wall into the next chamber. Now, in the next chamber is going to be what people would call the reservoir, or for example, a frag tank. I'll be using it as a frag tank, but you'll see basically the plumbing comes in through right here. And then this piece right here, this divider, does have holes in it, so it kind of forces flow a certain direction, so it's not too stagnant. This thing is removable as well. It's just a piece of glass. I will also go ahead and remove it just because I feel like it's kind of in the way. And I do have a lot of great plans for this little tank right here. It's going to be super fun. Going to make a lot of content out of it. It's just an idea I've had that I really want to do. But of course, that'll be just in future episodes. And then of course in the back, you just have the drain that goes back into the main sump and then into the return area. Now back into the sump,
you'll see this is where that drain comes out of, and then you do just kind of have the remaining sump area. Now this back sump area is definitely made for like a skimmer, just because it's kind of hard to tell in this video, but there is about an extra, I would say maybe 3 to 6 inches difference between this back area and this front area. So this front area is actually a lot narrower, and this back area is actually pretty big. So there's a lot of applications for it. And then as we kind of move more forward, we do have the remaining sump area. This little baffle right here is also adjustable. You can see those 2 little screws right there. You do have this little filter thing. I'll be removing that. This thing's nothing but a detritus trap. Don't use it. And then lastly, the pump area, which as you can see is this little Y piece that will be attaching the return pump to. Now the only last area is going to be door number 4, and that is the equipment area. Now for this equipment area, the top and the bottom both have access points, which is pretty nice. As I was mentioning before, you might be able to attach some things to the aluminum bracing right here. I was thinking maybe attaching dosers to that piece right there. I feel like that might be able to work out somehow, just to save room. But other than that, the entire thing is pretty big, so there's plenty of space. And the Red Sea tanks, I mean, at least the S-1000s, they come with that new accessory, the slide-out door panel. I'm not really sure if I'll use this for anything, but it's kind of cool to have. I don't like the fact that it moves in this direction, how it slides out like that, but that's okay. I mean, it still comes with it, which is really nice. We might just put like dosers on it. Something that's, I mean, it has to be something that's meant to move, but you know, it's like $100 accessory, and it's nice that it's included. Which in a lot of cases, you know, if you think about it, maybe it should be, just because the tank is so darn expensive. But yeah, that's a really nice little additional piece right there. And that's pretty much it for this tank. That's a pretty decent walkthrough. Just to kind of give you quick numbers. Tank is 7 feet. It holds about 200 gallons. The sump, I think it was split to 17 and then 55 on the main sump. So it comes out to about 265 total water volume. It's something around there as far as the numbers. But yeah, I can't wait to go ahead and set this guy up. But yeah, that's pretty much it as far as the brand new tank. Now, if you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comments. I think I did a pretty okay job as far as doing a full breakdown of everything that is included with the tank and kind of how it works. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. It's going to take a few weeks to get this guy set up. Of course, we're going to document it as we do it. I'm not really going to start though until my leg heals a little better, just so I can carry weight. For example, some of those rocks that I have ready to put in this tank, they weigh like 50 pounds. I don't think I can hold that rock and also have it support on my knees in the way they're currently doing. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.